Wow, I am hoping that got caught in and is not removed out, because that certainly wasn't me, but somebody's in a good mood for a new episode of Knights of Eveningstar.
Or pretending to be.
That's the secret, everyone. It's called acting. Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode. We're actually not acting. We are all very excited to be here for a brand new episode of Knights of Eveningstar, a little show here on the D&D Twitch channel where we, myself and my wonderful players, who I will introduce you to very shortly, are basically playing through a campaign where they run a small kingdom in Cormyr, which is a very cool place in the Forgotten Realms. I'm Dungeon Master Mark SherlockHulmes, and I'm joined by these wonderful people that you see. We've got Mica Burton.
I wasn't ready.
The man dying is Nate Sharp. We have Jonathan Indovino, aka ShadyPenguinn, and of course the wonderful, ever wonderful Anna Prosser as well. Maiden of the schedule, who keeps us all actually on track and make sure that we actually. I want that to be my actual title.
Maiden of the schedule.
Yeah, that would be your sort of Elden Ring, Dark Souls, boss. Like it would be Anna, Maiden of the schedule. Two health bars, music comes in.
Meanwhile, over here we have Shady, maidenless.
I can't be here because I'm maidenless. I have to go.
He has to go.
Bye.
I do think that's quite a telling thing. Like if you really distilled somebody's personality, what would your sort of like video game boss subtitle be? It would be, whatever it would be, like your name and then a subtitle of some ridiculous gothic fantasy element, and then, health bar comes up.
Mica Burton, keeper of the Uwoos.
Keeper of the Uwoos.
Very
nice. I like that one. That's a good one.
Thank you. Yeah, really dramatic music.
Comes in. Yeah, nice. And that's it. That's your intro that you get this week for everyone and their game. We're going to be playing some Dungeons and Dragons with you all, and that's it. Unless there is anything else that needs to be said. And I always look to Anna, who is far more organized than me, to remind me of things that I might need to mention. I don't know if there are, though.
Nope.
Nothing.
Good. Excellent. Then I
said Anna
failed.
With her mouth full off of mute.
That's all right. That's fine. Look, we're all friends here. And that's including everyone at home. We're all friends here, so it's fine. In that case, I've got a bit of a recap. But God, what is going on with my...
Oh, did I just give you my voice? Did I do that?
I think you did. You transferred some sort of voice disease to me.
I think we're all just
not a voice disease.
Not the voice disease.
Voice disease.
The dreaded voice disease.
Listen, okay? I'm not a smart guy. I say dumb shit all the time.
Just hearing the words voice disease together was very scary. All of us need that. We all need that.
That's a thing? It would be a very scary thing for anybody in our careers. Which is what you should look after. If you're a streamer or if you're a performer in any way, look after that throat. You don't want to get those nodes. Nodes, bad news. Anyway.
Trust me, I've done it. Yeah. Trying to stay silent for a week after that, or 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's the real voice disease right
there.
I've got a recap, and then I'm going to ask you guys just some little questions about some stuff, and then you kind of guided me in what you would like to do for these last few episodes. We are kind of potentially reaching the end of a season, so we're going to be wrapping up some cool stuff. So I've got my recap if y'all are ready. Thumbs up. Excellent. Good. That's what I like to see. Silent thumbs up to the camera. Last time on Knights of Eveningstar, our Leonin hero, Clyve, travelled into the Feywild in search of something to enhance the Tressym that have called Eveningstar home, hoping to turn them into a more powerful military unit to defend the settlement. On arriving and being subjected to the rather strange obsessions with Piximon that the various Feywild inhabitants have, Clyve chased down the Summer King, who was out hunting a beast called a Jabberwock. After finding the Summer King, Clyve set out to fight the beast himself, but when another one showed up, the Archfey pulled in the other heroes to come to Clyve's aid. When the creatures were defeated, the King of Summer's Flame rewarded them with various gifts, including this sort of Feywild elixir, very rare material, which allows them to increase the size of Tressyms, a decent sized number of them, up to the sort of size that would be rideable, and I believe that is a plan. Clyve was also gifted a brand new shield, which, Nate, I have added to your inventory, so you can find that in your inventory. You've got a magic shield, the Shield of Summer's Sun, I believe it is called, and it's got some funky powers.
I have a question.
Neat.
The questions are wonderful. I love them. I demand them, in fact.
Wow. Well, fine. If you're going to be so aggressive about it, I'll ask you a question, Mark.
Yeah, damn straight. Give me those questions.
I heard you say King of Summer Flame. Mm-hmm. Is that his title? Yep. It has flame in the title?
Well, I mean, Anna Prosler can know that. Yes, Anna Prosler can know that, but Agnis doesn't know that. But yes.
Just out of curiosity.
Summer is summer in the Feywild. The things like Summer Eladrin are often associated with flames and the sun, with heat and fire. It represents the passions of the Feywild. Summer and sort of those aggressive emotions and feelings, but also showcasing your heart, your blazing heart openly. It's very anime protagonist, the Summer and Feywild fiery nature.
It's almost like Agnis sensed it.
It's meant to be. That's what it is. It's destiny. But yes, so there you go. There's a little tidbit for you. And then that's it. And the way I was going to start this session was having you guys just return to Eveningstar. There's not really any danger or threat or anything that could go wrong in you guys returning to Eveningstar. Clyve knows the way. You already know Clyve knows where there is a portal. The Summer King can basically send you there if need be. So there's not really anything that can go wrong. So I was just going to have you guys go back, unless there are things that you would like to do whilst you are in the Feywild. Keep in mind your Dungeon Master may not have planned them, so they might be a little bit loose. But don't let that stop you. You guys do whatever you want to do. And then when you guys get back to Eveningstar, I've got a couple of questions regarding these Tressyms in particular.
I mean, the only thing that one way or another might have happened is that if we all had a really good time with the Summer King, and there was any time in the conversation it came up that like maybe we would all want to stay in touch somehow. Plan another visit, drop a line sometime.
Maybe not everyone at the same time. Something one-on-one.
I mean,
something a bit more private.
Just curious I think if, communication was going to stay open.
Yeah, I think that the Summer King would certainly probably give you some very simple enchantment. Not quite the level of a sending stone, but maybe something like a magic quill that when you write a letter, it would basically be sent to one of his courtiers or one of his attendants, and then he can write it and perhaps write back something that would find its way to you in the mortal realm. That is certainly something that can be arranged. And I am more than happy for you all to sort of be like, yes, and me and the Summer King are now great friends.
I mean, for the sake of our kingdom's well-being,
just makes sense.
Monarchs and we should all stay in touch, for the well-being of our people, etc.
Yeah. Now, here's an interesting thing for Agnis, because obviously Agnis is swept up in all of this, but the rest of you might notice this. The Summer King is very much a traditional noble in very much the way that the Cormyrean nobles are. Like, he has servants and attendants, and he, makes demands of them, and they bring him things, and he has citizens that he is the ruler of. Like, almost kind of, it's a little bit like maybe Agnis is, too blind to see that, like, all of her criticisms of Cormyrean nobility are perhaps just equally mirrored here. But it could be something that the other characters might want to pick up. I don't know.
There's no accounting for taste,
No, that's true. That's true. Maybe this is Agnes's next target after Cormyr. After she, frees Cormyr to the spirit of rebellion and kind of raises the people up, she'll move on to the Feywild and do that here instead.
Maybe.
Maybe that could be it.
I do have a note here that says, ask Mark later about my Nat 20 roll of the Queen of Errant Darkness.
Right. You did get that, yes. Now, I will once again reiterate, natural 20s outside of combat generally aren't like, they're not, automatic successes, but
you did say more info was coming.
I did. That information may need to be delayed a little bit longer.
No worries.
It's like I've been working on things. It's been a busy couple of weeks.
Yes.
But yes, the Queen of Air and Darkness is, the impression that you've got from it is that this is probably going to be the avenue. Like, she is going to be the avenue with which to pursue this idea of like somehow freeing Tarkhal from the bonds between him and Willow's Song. And you don't think that this is, I would say that with the natural 20, Mica, Azara would probably know that this is not going to be something that you can go and ask for. The Queen of Air and Darkness doesn't do like, oh, I'm just going to give you this thing, not without sufficient cost. Like, she's not, you could make a bargain with her, but this is like prime archfey. She will, like, you'd basically be, you might as well make a deal with the devil at that point, right? She'll probably honor the agreement, but it's not going to be in your favor. But she collects lots of mystical artifacts. She has lots of ancient spell and magic knowledge. Like, this is a very powerful, very paranoid individual. And so something like that could break a bond between a warlock and their patron, or even like break a potentially very powerful magical bond. You know, I think that maybe Azara has read stories of, wicked hags and witches that have gone to the Queen of Air and Darkness to break like true love between two individuals. You know, these kind of like Disney fairy tale stories, right? Like something that could do, she has the power to do stuff like that, like, break people's bonds of family and memory and stuff like that. These very powerful esoteric forces.
So something that we should wait to come back to the Feywild to do.
Right, it's definitely not going to be something that you can just swing by, like, and even like your knowledge is limited, right? You would probably want to spend some time researching this.
Right.
This is just what you knew off the top of your head. You're like, I've heard of this. You've heard some stories. Very, very likely to be a very good source of information, but not one to mess with idly. Something that is going to be, and also something to be wary of as well. This is a very powerful individual.
Got it.
Nice. But apart from that, unless there is anything else in the Feywild, I would just assume you guys head back to Eveningstar. But I don't want to enforce.
I want to see these cats jacked with big old
magic
muscles.
Juice.
Yeah, magic juice.
Basically.
Pump them up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys, travel back. It doesn't take you long. It does feel like when you return to Eveningstar, the people in Eveningstar seem to think that you have been gone like a couple of days, when for you guys it's been probably a few hours. It's been like 8 hours, like maybe a long rest, basically. When you get back, the people of Eveningstar are like, oh, like, we didn't know where you'd gone. We assumed you'd gone off on some sort of adventure. Like, Dusk has probably kept things running. There's not been any issues, but it's very clear that, like, whilst you were in the Feywild, much more time in the mortal realm has passed than what you thought. And for you guys, like, Clyve was gone for like, a few days before even you guys got pulled into the Summer King's spell. So there's definitely some odd timiness that goes on there. But you return with this kind of curved horn, this sort of like mead horn with a sort of cap and a lid on it. And this is the Illuvinor that was given to you by the Summer King that will increase these Tressym. And is the plan just to basically like gather up as many Tressyms and use it on as many as you possibly can? Is there a plan to like hand pick certain Tressym that you specifically want to have enlarged and biggened?
Agnis wants to go talk to King One Eye and explain the opportunity for the regiment and ask for him to recruit volunteers.
Okay. And I'm assuming would you cast Speak with Animals to have a conversation here? Okay. Yeah, I mean, King One Eye, he's old. He was definitely aged by his journey into the Feywild when he went on his little mission before. And I think that he sort of is like, I do not understand. We Tressym are as large as we can be, but if you have some way, I will find Tressym to whom this seems preferable. I will find fine warriors that would suit your needs.
Many thanks, Your Majesty. With all deference, I am in your debt.
Just seems to nod. Definitely acknowledges the respect being garnered. And I think like maybe after a few days, sort of 20 or 30 so Tressym are just sort of loitering in the courtyard of Starwatch Keep.
Licking a leg,
the guards are kind of like looking
wings.
around. Yeah, just like, chasing, the odd mouse, but also just kind of like probably chasing the guards or like annoying the guards by like flying onto their shoulders and like, trying to steal their lunches and things like that. Quite a few, like you probably see Aaron who's like walking into the barracks with like an armful full of like, I don't know, like baked fish or something like to give to like the, and like the Tressym just like leap on top of him. He's like, shit, oh, by the gods. And then he'll just like run off and like he's got nothing left. And then he has to like walk all the way back down to his mum's shop and get more food and bring it back. This process happens like 2 or 3 times until he learns to like cover it up.
This alerts Agnis to the idea that Tressym chasing mice at that size means Tressym at riding size chasing much bigger animals. And
yes, this is...
and feeding them is going to be something that is going to take attention.
So this is it. Yes. I was going to move on to this. Go on.
Oh, good. Is there... No, go ahead.
No.
Is there an agricultural or like farming hub? I mean, I know there's a butcher, right?
You have like I think that there was a stables because I think Azara wanted to like start establishing a stables and things like that, but I don't think he built it yet. In fact, actually, I think it was on the list of things that you wanted. But there are farms. There are definitely people in Eveningstar that have experience working with like livestock, like cattle, and goats and sheep and things like that. But this is like, but also, and I think Alyssa would probably kind of raise this point, if the plan is to make these Tressym big enough to use as like cavalry potentially, or like flying cavalry for like knights, they are going to need to be trained. And that's going to take significant time and resources. And also just like to get the battle discipline, to get saddles made. This is like, you can make them bigger and they're going to become a force, but if they're not properly trained, they probably will actually cause nuisances for the town as well. Like these things are going to be like roving predators who will probably snatch up, certain creatures if they're not careful and things like that. So this is definitely something to consider. It will probably take a couple of months to train them up properly. They can certainly focus on like 4. So if you guys wanted to have mounts quicker, they could focus on 4 first and get those done. And then they'll train the rest. But it's going to take a little bit of gold just to get everybody sort of equipped and everything else as well. It'll probably cost about 300 gold to get saddles made, to get like barding and training facilities, that sort of thing, all worked out.
I guess Alyssa would be heading up the kind of cavalry training side of things.
Alyssa like looks at like, if you've made one of these Tressym bigger, Alyssa is just not about it. Like she's like, with all due respect, my lady, I've never been trained as a mounted combatant, let alone one riding a giant cat that can fly. There are some talented individuals, that we have some talented riders in my unit, and we would basically focus on them. We would maybe even go into the town. It would actually be easier for us to find trained riders in town, train them to be warriors, and then put them on the Tressym, rather than trying to teach people like myself mounted combat. Like I've never ridden. I lived in a city. Most of the knights here have lived in cities or in urban areas. Like we haven't really trained as mounted cavalry. But I think we can find enough riders for a small unit like this.
The reason I ask, and I kind of communicate that, these Tressym are not dumb beasts. They have all volunteered for this. So there is some level of motivation that we can address with training. And I'm wondering, would it behoove us to do a beginning stage of training before we make the transformation and let them know that they must pass a certain level of discipline before they can become embiggened?
I mean, you know more than this. I mean, to me, the Tressym they're just beasts. I thought them no different to house cats. But if you're saying that they're more intelligent, then yes, I mean that seems like it would make the most sense. If they are intelligent creatures, we can certainly make almost bargains with them that if they perform well, they will be well fed, they will be well kept, that sort of thing. Yes, I think that would definitely make sense. If you have the ability to converse with them as well, then that will also make things considerably easier.
Yeah. I will be at your or whoever's training's disposal to communicate these ideas.
There's a young lieutenant who I was thinking of assigning as the sort of commander of this small unit, who is experienced, was something of a champion rider, used to race horses, and I think that they're probably going to be the most adept at switching to a cavalry role. I will have them meet with you, and then we can discuss from there. And if anybody has particular ideas of who this lieutenant will be, by all means, feel free to recommend. Like, I don't have an NPC prepared, so if you've got like I want it to be a lizard man, I'd be like, okay, cool, yeah, sure, fine. I'll make it work. You maybe come up with a Kenku blacksmith, so if you want to come up with anything, or a tiefling or a dwarf, or whatever, anything you want. So have a think.
I'll think about it.
And my question then for everybody, like for the rest of you as well, do you guys have a preference? Like, eventually, let's assume that these Tressym get trained up, you get saddles. Like, do you hand pick a certain type of? Keep in mind that they look like house cats with wings, but now they are like, panther-sized, and they have like saddles on and things like that, or like maybe like sort of lioness size. In fact, actually, they'd probably be bigger than like a panther. They're massive. These things, like big sort of striding paws, so like big cats with wings. Does anybody have like a preference for like color or design or like name or anything for who they might gain as this mount?
Wait, we're getting our own flying. I can.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, my assumption was that you would have the military unit, and then you would take like one each to be as your.
What is the point if not for us to ride flying cats?
I thought that we were just trying to buff our military.
No, we're buffing everybody.
Yes.
No imagination, this one. No imagination.
Not me.
Listen, I have been disappointed many times in my life, so I don't have expectation. I have imagination, plenty of it.
That's so serious.
But expectations, no. But I will take
Shady expect the minimum.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, I want a silver
Lowest
cat.
expectations.
Silver?
I want a silver cat,
Sure.
yeah. With like black paws. And I want to name him I want to name him Dark Step.
Aww.
Wow.
Dark Step. That's
Dark Step.
very edgy as well.
That's
I like
really
it.
edgy.
Well, Tarkhal's look at him with his hood and everything.
Yeah.
He's pretty
Is
edgy.
it like a short-haired cat, or is this like a long-haired cat, or like?
No, in my mind he's got hair, long hair.
Yeah, long hair. Okay,
And he even
like
has a
big
fringe.
Maine Coon kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like nice.
So I just looked up Tressym, and I see that they do have like angel-like wings rather than bat-like wings.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
So I think that
It is like
Azara would pick some like a very lithe, elegant looking, like pure white cat that looks the most angelic. And
Okay.
name her Airdrie after her goddess, or just name her Faye instead of Fania. Just name her Faye.
Faye. Okay.
Yeah. Little white angelic cat named Faye.
Okay.
I'm debating
Agnes
with
or,
myself because I think that there is a type of cat that you would expect Agnes to ride. But I'm wondering if, maybe mixing things up. Like, what about a calico cat,
Ooh.
Sure.
So give me a second. Clyve, go.
A cat on a cat.
I know, cat man riding a cat.
Can there be a giant munchkin Tressym?
I was going that direction too.
So that's like those are the ones with like the little
short
short
legs
legs,
and the kind of smushed face.
They're the rug huggers.
but like long body.
Rug huggers.
Rug hugger. Oh my god.
They have a lot of traction.
I mean, there is so many Tressym, Tressym are very common in Cormier, but one of the things about, and this is actually canonical in the Forgotten Realms lore, Eveningstar in particular is like known for Tressym, and there's loads of wild Tressym in the area. So I don't think it's inconceivable that Clyve goes out and like maybe this isn't one of the volunteers, but like Clyve is just like going around like, nah, I don't like these cats, don't like this one, and then he just finds this Tressym that looks like it's sleeping, or it looks like it's on the ground, and then he just sees these tiny little legs as it like squiggles its way, and Clyve's like, that one.
Like, if it was sleeping, he probably just like picked him up, like, yeah, I'll do.
It's just like carries it like a log, just like brings it back. It's like, maybe there's one big.
Probably like under his arm as its like wings and tiny feet are just flailing around.
Yeah. And this one's got like it's got like its body is almost longer, and then it's got these like little short stubby legs. And the embiggening process only makes it more hilariously weird. As it is now a munchkin lion, like a munchkin panther with like a smoosh face, and then it's got like this like long tail and long body.
I want to slightly amend mine. Instead of a lithe white cat, ragdoll cats, because they look so like elegant and pretty. Like with gorgeous blue eyes, like a really fluffy ragdoll.
Katie in High Rollers has got a ragdoll called Angus now, and he's like he's beautiful, like a beautiful boy.
Ragdolls are like model cats.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yep. Makes sense. Ragdoll for Azara, and then we have Munchkin Cat for Clyve.
Are any of you guys familiar with Smoothie the cat, who is a catfluencer?
A catfluencer?
Cat. Jesus. Smoothie the cat. Instagram.
Oh, look at that baby.
Red hair.
Help
me decide. It's between that like super floof, red hair floof with green eyes, or like a Bengal looking cat.
Ooh. Wait, what about like a serval?
Oh, hold on. I forget what they look like.
Kind of like
Bengal's
a Bengal.
good as well.
Oh, yeah. They look like cheetah Bengals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I've given Clyve a munchkin, Tressym, you may have whatever you wish.
I want... What do you guys think? Would Agnes pick a live Bengal-looking wild creature, or would she pick a fluffy cutie and betray her true nature? I think... Wait, you have a fluffy one, right, Mica?
Yeah.
So to look different, we'll go with the Bengal. And it has 2 different colored eyes.
Ooh.
Unicat.
And it's
I like
kind of a reddish Bengal, because usually they're like white, brown, but there's like a little reddish tinge to it.
That makes sense. Cool. All right. Do we have Darkstep, and is it Faye? What about Clyve and Agnes's Tressym mounts? Do they have names? Make sure you write them down as well.
Agnes asks her cat what the cat's name is, and if it doesn't have a name, what it would like to be called.
I mean, I get like... This is like a bigger question, right? Because Tressym have an intelligence of 11. They're actually like, they're as smart as a person. But would even smart cats, would they give themselves names? Or like, are we talking like a Redwall scenario where it's more like descriptive? So like, like one might be called like Red Claw or something because it's kind of got like reddish fur and it's like known for being aggressive. Like, would they go for those kind of names? Or would they just be like, I don't have name. I don't know. I don't know what they would go with.
I'm gonna name it, or it calls itself Farseer.
Farseer. Oh wow. Okay, this is like maybe a wise cat. Maybe this is like one of the cats that other Tressym would go to for advice.
Yeah. Which incidentally is named after a friend of mine's dog who is a dogfluencer, so it matches.
Nice. Okay. Perfect. So we have Farseer, Darkstep, Faye. What about Clyve? What does Clyve
cat?
Long boy, or little boy.
Rug hugger.
His name is Tarkhal.
Of course, perfect.
That's gonna not be confusing in battle.
Not at all.
Nope.
No, not at all.
It's spelled differently.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's important.
Yeah.
That's Tarkhal, and that's Tarkhal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Tarkuhl.
Tarkhal.
Tarkhal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I love it. Perfect.
I thought it was going to be an E. Tarkhal.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought it was going to be.
Actually,
like
no. It's
Tarkhal.
like it's spelled like sparkle, but it's Tarkhal.
Tarkhal. Yeah, nice. What?
So if you guys say it like Tarkhal versus like Tarkhal, maybe you hear it, but it's Tarkhal.
Okay.
Just the same when Clyve says it.
Mhm.
All right. Nice. Well, it does take a little bit of time. Like I said, it takes a little bit of money, which I can mark off the treasury, and a little bit of time. But eventually, these Tressym are trained. There is a good accord is struck, and they begin training. And it's going to take a while for like the actual knights to start using them, but they sort of accelerate the ones that you guys will be using as mounts, and also you begin forming those bonds to the point where, these creatures become mounts. They are kind of like horses. They're not like dead fast loyal companions. I think maybe the only difference would be with Agnis's Tressym, because Agnis can speak with them more regularly. But for the rest of you, kind of think of them as horses, right? Like these things are not going to blindly just like fight everything with you every single time. If they're like overwhelmed, they're probably going to run away, but they'll probably return like horses. Like, they would come back. These are going to be hopefully eventually trained as like war beasts and won't flee in the middle of a battlefield.
I was about to say, every time Aragorn's thrown me off, he's come back to check on me. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they'll come back. But like, if you were fighting a dragon or something, the Tressym might be like, I'm not fucking with, like, until they're properly trained, and you're going to have to like control them and keep them in combat and stuff, right?
Right.
So. And also, these are large creatures. So we are talking like, lioness-sized things. So certainly, if you were trying to go inside buildings with them and things like that, they are not going to be as useful for that. Out in the wilderness, trying to get to places, they are going to be perfect for getting that. They have a fly speed of about 40 feet, so they do go a little bit faster than you would be traveling on land. They're not quite as fast as a horse, though, but they obviously can fly. And I will sort out some stats for them. So that you can actually have stats. They'll basically have a warhorse's stats, but they'll have the Tressym sort of abilities, and then that way they'll function like that. All right?
Mark, I want to let you know,
yes,
for Darkstep, his hair, like I said, he has a very long hair, and the intentional training that Tarkhal does, me, what I do with my Darkstep is I learn to kind of hide underneath his belly. And I want to be able to be a sneaky boy with my cat.
Oh.
Okay. So I think for that, make an animal handling check.
Okay.
Like, and this will represent like the first couple of like, first week or so of you trying to teach this trick, because it's a pretty unique trick. Like for it to still keep flying and doing what it's thing, but like not care that you're underneath it. You're going to need to work with it.
My total is, I rolled at 18, but I have a -1, so it's 17.
17 is still enough. Like Darkstep is still learning this trick, and it might freak out, but you're definitely on the process where like this is going to eventually be, if you can keep that up and keep training them, they'll eventually be able to like maybe even assist you with it. Right now you can do that and you'll just be able to make your check as normal. It might hopefully get to the point where Darkstep will actually give you advantage to hide when you're pulling off this move, kind of thing, right? Where it will like purposely like bring its wings in, or like bring its legs up to try and hide you more, or like it might be able to do things like throw you, like if it knows that you're kind of like flying up to a creature, it could actually throw you onto it and stuff like that, use its like its higher strength to sort of propel you forward. But yeah, that's gonna take some time to fully master. Yes, Nate.
On that note, may Clyve also attempt to do some personalization to Tarkhal?
Sure.
Okay, he's going to take a visit to the blacksmith.
Oh no.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Donk wobble.
Donk wobble. I've got a favor to ask you, friend.
Whop. It makes like a sound of like a rock hitting a water. And it just kind of like Donk just puts their wings on their hips and looks up at you. What new?
I'm gonna point outside to Tarkhal, who's
okay.
I'm guessing. Can Tarkhal be waiting outside the window?
Yeah, you can have Tarkhal like outside like the building. It just can't come inside.
I imagine Tarkhal the cat as like a little bit cross-eyed, just a smidge.
No, like opposite. Like it's like in two different directions.
Yeah. It's very derpy. You know how I said that like Tressym have an intelligence of 11?
This one doesn't.
Tarkhal the Tressym doesn't. No, his intelligence.
Well, I mean,
is probably a
I've
bit
got
lower.
an intelligence. I have an intelligence of 11. Okay.
Okay.
Well, never mind.
Just
So,
like
anyway,
Tressym.
yeah, we're on the same level.
This one's not quite there, but yeah, you kind of point out, and you probably find it like you find your Tarkhal trying to eat a dandelion, and then it eats it, and then it's like, it's like coughing up like the parts of the dandelion, and
Fucking
Donk
idiot.
just goes, oh no, blong 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 blong, clank.
Can you make that's Tarkhal? It's not. It's a different name from Tarkhal. You see the difference? Yeah, he gets it. All right. So can we make him a mechanism that goes around his neck, and on it are some kind of trumpets or horns or something very loud? Strike fear into the hearts of our enemies as we approach on this fantastic beast.
Donk like strokes his beak. He kind of like rubs his beak with his wings, like he's thinking.
Tarkhal looks in the window, bug-eye, and just kind of...
I imagine like Toothless. I have Toothless the dragon like in my mind for Tarkhal now, but like with the kind of goofy smile and sort of like the wonky eye.
But like took all the settings too far.
Yeah, like somebody's hit the randomizer too much on Toothless.
Like everything that makes Toothless endearing, dial it up to where it goes from endearing to just stupid.
Yeah. Basically, Donk looks at Tarkhal and like rubs his beak, and then he sort of goes, "I suppose so." Dong dong makes the sound of like gold, kind of like clattering to the floor. I shall take at least a week, and then I think he basically writes you down. He writes something for you, and he basically like writes a note to go to like a general store and buy the instruments. Like Donk can't make like horns and instruments, but he tells you like buy what instruments you want me to mount, and I will make a fitting that you can put them on.
Awesome.
And then that's it. And then so this is to Clyve. What instruments does Clyve want mounted to his Tressym now? Is this like a series of like trumpets and horns? Is this like a giant bagpipe that you like mount to him?
This
and
is
you can,
becoming
like,
a whole thing.
Can it be two giant bellows with horns on the end? So you go,
yeah, I imagine that like whatever he gets, Donk's gonna make a system to like give it more oomph as well. Like, so if he brings back like a horn or a trumpet, Donk will actually make a bigger sort of like funnel for it so that it projects like the noise, and he adds like a bellows to it to like give it more of a kind of like a, you know.
But can I also find something in that realm that is several notes, different pitches, and I can try and teach it to play a tune like the seals?
Like the seals.
So okay, so I had in my mind that this was some sort of contraption that Clyve could use whilst riding to play, but you actually want it so that
I'm gonna
Tarkhal the
teach
Tressym
him.
can like has like a mouthpiece that
Yeah.
you can blow into, or like things that it presses and it makes a noise.
Giant harmonica. That's what we need.
That's basically what we're building.
Cats
here.
can play
Okay.
harmonicas. This is
a harmonica with like
This-
built-in like funnel
look,
collar.
flying cat, fine, but cat playing a harmonica,
That's where I draw the line.
I
This-
draw the no.
It's a big harmonica, and the amplification is a big cone of shame.
No.
It can't be around his ears, but it can be like, it's like a giant, you know,
Why
what's,
can't
like,
it
the
be
big
around his ears?
trombone. Well, because like if it was around his neck, it would annihilate his own ear. It would just
Well,
like go
that's
around
that's
his
why
head.
we get him huge earmuffs.
Oh my god, this is getting so complicated.
I hate this. It was so fun,
Okay.
and now I hate it.
So-
Okay, this is what happens, right? I need Nate. You can mark off. You mark off 20 gold, right? This is gonna like materials and buying the instruments and like paying like Donk's like, give me 20 gold. What you end up with is
Does
it's like
someone
it's
can
like a
someone
mouth guard.
spot me 10 gold?
So Clyve comes back to the keep and it's like walks in and it says, "I need 10 gold."
I need 10 gold.
I think
For
if he describes this, Agnes
He doesn't describe anything.
Oh,
He just asks for 10 gold. Yeah,
Okay.
he demands. Yeah. Does anybody give Clyve 10 gold? Is the question.
It's in Tarkhal's nature to just give Clyve 10 gold for sure.
Just gives Clyve 10 gold. Yeah, there you go. So
You
Clyve
won't
happily
regret
drops
this.
back off.
I hope not.
The next time you see Clyve's Tressym, it has, I've seen it in like America, when they have like the neck brace with like the teeth braces that kind of come up like a little thing. It's almost like that. It goes all the way around Tarkhal the Tressym's neck, and then it has like spokes with like some sort of like thing that it's almost like a gum shield that the cat bites onto. And then it has this giant cone around its neck, like a cone of shame, that has spikes around it, right? It's been like spiked. So it looks like a battle collar almost. And then it has a pair of earmuffs, like badly sewn together. It looks like it's been made out of like 2 potato sacks stuffed with like feathers that it like sits around its ears. And it's constantly trying to get it's like shaking its head around and it just makes this horrid noise. This will, as long as this Tressym is with you, Clyve can never be stealthy. Like it like constantly makes noise. It's like it like breathes into the mouth guard and it just
I can't breathe.
this poor cat.
This is awesome.
Poor simple
it's
creature.
just like it's trying to get like the earmuffs off. And it hates the collar. It hates it.
As soon as Agnes sees this, she's going to rip it off. Like she is not going to let this stand.
Well, it does have clasps built in, so it can be. Donk's not cruel. He's got it so that you can like unclip it and it just falls off, basically.
Oh my god.
So Clyve, you watch as like Agnes is like pulling the collar off and like it just gets its paws up and like takes its earmuffs off.
It's to protect its hearing.
It wouldn't have to protect its hearing if you didn't make an instrument that would specifically amplify it into its ears. Why don't you put it anywhere else?
Oh, it's at the front and it's facing where we're going.
What would you consider, Clyve, letting me redesign this for you in a way that might be even more efficient?
I would review some blueprints.
Great. I'll consult with I did an NPC generator and I like who it came up with for the cavalry trainer expert. And
nice.
A woman who probably a human who's like 62, older woman. She's like, you're a horse girl, and she's transitioned to a horse woman. She is like horse lady supreme. No nonsense, very straightforward, only cares about horses, very serious about them.
She sounds like my trainer.
Yep.
And like
well,
a little gruff and can't talk about anything but horses, but very, very good at cavalry.
And I think that we throw this in because this is somebody who was serving in Alyssa's like military unit as well. So this is somebody who always wanted to be like a cavalry knight or like a warrior, but basically is commoner, so didn't get to kind of have those opportunities. So instead basically became like the stable mistress who constantly kept getting into fights, would like go on campaign to look after all the knight's horses, and like the baggage train would be attacked or like the stables would be attacked, and she would just get a weapon, and they basically just went, you know what, we're just going to teach you to be a warrior now. And like she just got military training. So she's been like through so much shit. Like this lady has seen battles, like
she has like a
battles.
Scar right here, and she has like long grayish white hair, like in a single like ponytail down her back, weathered skin.
Nice. Nice.
Is she
Do we have
Swedish
a name?
and her name is Carolyn? Jesus, you're just describing my horse trainer.
the generator named her Lindsay Stonesworn, which is pretty cool.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Lindsay Stonesworn. I like it. All right. Okay. So, all right. So we have Miss Stonesworn, who is like, she loves horses. Tressym aren't horses, but she likes the challenge because these are very intelligent creatures. And like, she's like, okay, yeah, I can see how I could work. She maybe has like a bit of a southern belle about her. She's like, okay, Miss Agnes, I can see what we can do here, and I'll see what I can manage.
I imagine she's like protective of them because she sees that this is like a new group of animals that nobody understands, and like they're not probably taking proper care of them, as you can see with Clyve.
Yeah.
So Agnis will go to her and explain this and ask for help designing a blueprint for an amplification device.
I think Lindsay looks at you like, I mean, do we have to? Could we not just not do this? But eventually she probably would help come up with a system which like at least angles it away. So it kind of like blares out like sideways or something
maybe
like
there's
that, away
two
from what the
cones
creature's
like that
is.
go this way.
Yeah, it's two cones kind of go like sideways. So it's more like a kind of like, and it would be more for like around the creature rather than like directly ahead. But yeah, that's the design that she would come up with. Whether Clyve approves it or not, I leave that to Mr. Nate Sharp.
See, it's double the cones, Clyve. 2 of them instead of 1.
That is more cones.
Yeah.
That's at least 10% more cones.
At least. Maybe even more like
I'll argue with that math.
50%, like a lot more.
Tarkhal, what do you think?
Tarkhal is in the process of like smashing the cone, but then also Tarkhal is stood there.
I was asking the cat.
Yep, I understand now. I understand.
Tarkhal the Tressym looks at you with like a kind of like, it's like tongues hanging out the side of its mouth, and then it just puts one paw on like the metal cone and flattens it, and it's just like,
well, I think the decision's been made.
This cat reminds me of Hey Hey from Moana.
Yeah.
I was actually I was gonna say, like, just full visual. Have you seen the hey, this weird fucking cat looks like grandma?
Yes.
Yeah.
this fucking cat.
What is this thing?
What is that?
Oh
what is that?
Oh my god.
Yep. All right. That is a sort of slightly shorter haired, munchkin-legged version of that cat with all the like the teeth and the big wide eyes. Is now Tarkhal the Tressym.
I have a very simple request.
Sure. Why
very
not?
simple.
I love it. This is the Tressym episode now.
It's very simple. I would like to put Snowmorn around Faye's neck.
Oh.
So she can use it.
Okay.
What's Snowmorn again?
Is a
Snowmorn
magic amulet.
Yeah, it's a blade from the icy dagger from back in the day. Remember the transporty dagger?
One, I believe.
Has 3 charges that gets recharged. 1 charge for Fog Cloud, 3 charges for Ice Storm, and 1 charge for Misty Step.
Yeah, I mean, a Tressym is an intelligence of 11. It would understand, like, it could attune to it.
Yeah.
I can't think of a reason why it couldn't attune to it.
Right?
That's so great.
I mean, so you would probably have to get the necklace enlarged, which Donk can do. That's not, like, a problem.
I would have asked Donk to make, like, a Lady in the Tramp style gorgeous collar. And instead of the heart for a lady's collar, it's the little the Snowmorn dagger.
It's amazing.
Donk like just looks at you, strokes their beak, and you hear a very sort of like, for the second time today, what the hell? And then it just like kind of looks like and starts like making it. It's probably like leather, but Donk dyes the leather like white, like he kind of like dyes it, and then he adds like bits and pieces to it. But it's robust. It's like he has to make it so that it's battle worn, or like ready to withstand it. But yeah, and then mounts the actual kind of like daggery piece. He mounts it on it rather than it dangling down. It's kind of like embedded like a choker, and he kind of mounts that onto Faye. And yeah, I mean, technically, if you're willing to give up the item, you would lose it. You wouldn't be able to use it anymore.
No, that's totally fine.
Can.
Yeah. Faye can use Snowmorn.
A Tressym that can use like Sleet Storm or whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
So cool.
Sure. Okay. Nice.
Hell yeah.
Any more 2 Tressym, 2 Furious? Furious.
It's about family.
It's about family.
Yeah. 2 Faye, 2 Furious.
Furious.
2 Faye, 2 Furious.
Oh my, please someone make a poster of all of us on our Tressym that says 2 Faye, 2 Furious.
Yeah.
It's about family.
Okay, anyway, I want to consult a magic person. Maybe I ask Azara or Sarah Lee, and I ask if they know of any way to make To enchant an item to make a constant speak with animals ability for my Tressym, or to like allow my Tressym to speak common or something like that.
That is certainly, I think, like Azara. I don't know if Azara has too much experience with making magic items. Like you were more like the lightning blasts and charm enchantment kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Sarah Lee is a researcher. She's not, but she knows a little bit about it. Like she can certainly point you in a direction. Well, yes, I think that there would certainly be people in Suzail or in Arabelle who would be able to manufacture something like that. It would probably cost some funds, my lady, just because items of this nature do tend to. There are various items such as comprehend languages. A headband allows one to understand other languages, so perhaps something along those lines, but would allow one to speak, or perhaps even telepathically speak as well, is another quite common thing. It is something I would need to look into, and we may need to order from a city. I don't think any of us within Eveningstar have the facilities to produce magical items, but we could certainly look into buying one. I could perhaps have that ready for you soon.
It's important that we be able to speak both ways, because right now I can cast Speak with Animals to speak to my Tressym. So that's almost even more important than allowing my Tressym to speak out. So,
well, I think it's from what I understand of Tressym, they are intelligent enough. They can understand what we say. We just can't understand them backwards. So the communication one way is already resolved. We simply need a way for the Tressym to communicate back to you. Now, would you like this to be just between you and the Tressym, or is this giving the Tressym the ability to speak to anyone nearby? That would also affect what the price and difficulty would be.
Would it be possible? You mentioned a headband of comprehend languages. If I were wearing that, could I understand every Tressym?
Well, the headband of comprehend languages is generally about sort of common languages, Elven, Dwarvish, Draconic, Orc, those kind of languages. What we would need to do is make a very specialized version of one, which would basically allow you to understand all animals, not just Tressym. It would probably be somewhat expensive, but it would allow you to understand any animal that you come across.
That would be great, because I could share it with Lindsay while Lindsay was doing training, so that Lindsay could also speak with the Tressym.
We could look into that. It might require attunement, but you could always, Lindsay could attune to it and then pass it back to you, and so on and so forth. But yes, we could look into that. It would be probably more expensive to make something that would understand all animals all the time. But I will get back to you as soon as I have more information. But I estimate anything between 500 and 1,000 gold would probably be the sort of cost of something like this.
If Azara is there, Agnes immediately looks at Azara with big eyes.
Puppy eyes, like, please.
Azara will sigh and say, as long as this item is usable by many, I feel we can justify the cost.
Can I speak with animals, please?
Please give me permanent speak with animals. Yeah, I think that because the headband of comprehend languages basically is like doesn't require attunement, I'd probably be looking at something like that. This is going to need to be a custom item, so it's going to take some time. But yeah, it will be,
cool.
Basically, by the time you have completed your next adventure, which there was talk of what you want that to be. So yeah, hopefully by the end of that, we can have that ready for you. So
good thing we've spent an hour talking about our Tressym.
No, listen. After the couple of weeks I've had with creative ideas, I am very happy that we've spent an hour having really funny jokes about customizing our big flying cat mounts. I am very much a big thumbs up on that. So that's great. But not to speed things along, I don't want to force you guys. If you guys want to do more stuff around Eveningstar, if there's other NPCs you want to talk to, if we want to have more Tarkhal, Willow Song, drama, angst, I love it. But if we want to have more Azara, Alyssa, romance fic, I'm also all about that. If we want to have Dusk, give you, like, you guys want to catch up with good guy Dusk, that's all good. But I know that you guys had also spoken about going to the silver mine and doing a nice little, let's do some dungeoning and get some monies for the town. Like, I know that was like,
get some monies for the Tressym headband.
Yes, that would certainly be helpful.
That sounds good. I have nothing else I want to do around town.
Yeah.
No,
as much as romance is important to me, so is money. So
Yeah. And Tarkhal's done. Tarkhal's done with Willowsong. He's like, I moved on. We're done.
Last Willowsong said to Tarkhal, like, she moved out of his room and she's just living somewhere.
She wanted to give space. Yeah, she wanted to give you space. I mean, you still see her around. Like, she is still in Eveningstar because she's operating as the Spy Master now. So she is around, but she is definitely, like, trying to... Because you basically said, like, you wanted it to be a choice. And so she's basically, like, trying to be hands-off, like, I'm going to let him choose when he wants to speak with me and I'm not going to bother him kind of thing.
Oh.
So...
Speaking of Willowsong and Spy Master, actually, there is something that Azara would want to do. I don't know if it needs a whole scene, but coming back from the Feywild, knowing that the Queen of Air and Darkness is probably the best way to break this bond. I know that was Willowsong's assignment. So it would be a way to strike a deal with the Queen of Air and Darkness without fucking us. So, like, if she knows, like, if she has a weakness or something. So, like, using her Spy Master powers for that.
That's exactly the kind of stuff. Like, Willowsong would say to you, like, yes, that is a very powerful enemy to make, but we can start looking into that. I can have people research that. And weaknesses, things that we can exploit, or perhaps if she has records of things that may be able to accomplish this, it may be the case that rather than striking a bargain, it may be possible for us to locate an opportunity to perhaps take something from her keep or lair or whatever it is. If she has an item that could achieve this, we may be able to perhaps try and steal it. But otherwise, yes, some sort of bargain or weakness that we can exploit. I can look into that. There was another element as well that I was going to mention to you. I have good hearing, being a dragon. The bones of Typhandrius. Would you like me to acquire some for you?
Azara will kind of, like, look around to make sure nobody is listening.
Yeah, and I think, like, Willowsong will say, like, do not worry, no one is within earshot. I made sure of that.
Are you offering this
freely
as
this
is
no
offering?
Bargain. Or... If you wish to think of it as a peace offering, yes, or as two women who appreciate power and who understand the value of where we come from. Think of it as that. But I know where at least 2, perhaps 3 of them are, and I can acquire them, I think. Provided you are not against acquiring them in a clandestine manner
Azara
for some of them.
Shakes her head and she says, no, I figured that would be the way. And she just kind of nods because she doesn't want to say it out loud. And
of course.
Yeah.
She, in fact, she doesn't even say of course. Like, Willowsong just nods and then you don't see her. Like, she just walks away and doesn't make a big deal out of it. But she definitely does that. Cool. Nice. All right. Well, after sort of all the shenanigans with the Tressym, I think that Dusk would come to you and basically be like, my lords and ladies, I know that it had been mentioned, the silver mine north of town. Because we knew that we were interested in it, we did send a team of surveyors there to try and estimate the sort of wealth, how much silver was still in the mine. As far as I know, they're up there investigating it now. They do have orders not to go too far within. You may want to meet up and discuss what they found. But there is there's only a handful of them up there. But it's not too far. And with the new Tressym, I believe that you should be able to reach there in less than a day. Make your way up towards the mine entrance. I've gone to the liberty of marking it on the map, and he shows you a map and shows you where the mine is, everything you need to know. But unfortunately, until you speak with the surveyors there, I cannot give you much information about the state of the mine or any information about it. It may be that it may be abandoned. It may not even have much ore in it left, but it's still worth us investigating. But if that was something you wanted to look into, now would be the perfect time to go about it, I think. And of course, if you require anything, or if there's anything I can do before you set out, please do let me know. Everything seems to be relatively calm at the moment, so this is a good opportunity, I believe.
Are our Tressym still in training?
Your Tressym, you can use them to fly there, yeah, but like if you get into a big fight, they're probably not going to be as used to combat just yet. Like they still think they're little Tressym, and so like any sort of big threat, they're probably still going to be like, whoa, what the fuck? But yeah, they can fly you there. You can ride them. They're at the point where they're kind of more like riding horses, so you can use them to ride, but they're going to probably spook quite easily if you get into like
that's
any
good.
serious
First little outing, get a
Mhm.
little easy trip
dungeon
for
crawl.
them. Yeah.
The only thing is, unlike horses, when you guys rest the Tressym, they fuck off to go find their own food because they eat
Great.
animals. Like these
Right.
guys don't just chomp grass. They're like, oh, we're gonna go and we're gonna go hunt birds, and probably at this point now, like whole rabbits and things like that. You know, these guys aren't just chasing mice. These are gonna go after bigger prey.
In the training montage, I want to have Agnis have had a meeting with the Tressym to try to explain the difference between a pet, a wild animal, and a piece of livestock. And I know they might not get it right away, but this is part of the training that Agnis is trying to impart.
Make a animal handling or persuasion, either way.
Which one is better for Agnis? Let's see.
Yeah, whichever one is best for Agnis.
Animal
I
handling.
want to see how
surprisingly.
effective. Okay, I want to see how effective this conversation is at conveying it.
I rolled a 2, but I have a +8, so it's a 10.
It's a 10. You managed to get across like a pet they can kind of understand. They're like, oh, okay, they're animals that the humans are really fond of, and I guess we shouldn't kill those.
The humans
But
already claimed those ones. Yeah.
But the Tressym argue back that when you start talking about like livestock, like the sheep and the cows and the pigs, they're like, but you eat those. You eat them. Why can't we eat them? And you really struggle to like argue that one back. And so you're not quite sure if all of the Tressym are quite on board with that. And you
fair.
probably
Working
would
on
get
that one.
reports. Yeah, you would probably get reports of like farmers coming to you like, oh, my lady Agnis, some of my sheep have gone missing, and then you look over and like the Tressym have got like bones that they're like piling up, and you're like, ooh.
No.
Uh-oh. We'll keep working on that.
Yeah, and it's I think like Agnis probably walks away like, well, yeah, that's kind of right. How can we tell them not to eat the livestock when we eat them? So
I have to get them like temporal awareness and an awareness of consent and ownership. Like that, those are deep.
Those are deep thoughts. Yeah.
Well, actually, I think that like I don't want to go too much into it, but eventually, because the Tressym again are they're like, oh, okay, well, we're working for you for free, so we'll just take our payment in the animals then.
Oh no, they've unionized. We're fucked.
They unionized, and they're basically, but I think that would be part of their training as well. Is like basically there is an agreement struck where like a certain amount of food is delivered to the Tressym, and they're like, yeah, okay, that's fine, we'll take that. And then they're sated. They're like, yeah, we don't need any more. We're quite happy with this now. So,
great.
That's probably where we get to. But well, perfect. Works great. But yes, if there are any preparations, if there are any things that you want to do before you head out adventuring.
Azara is going to try
10-foot poles you want to buy and ladders and all that kind of stuff.
Azara's going to try and secure a couple more healing potions. I know we get our allotment, but just because this might be like a crawl, I know Clyve has one, and then we as a collective have another. But if there's any...
You've only got 2 at the minute. You have 2 potions. That's all you have?
Yeah.
All right, you can have another 2. 2
Yay!
Sure. Why not?
Thank you.
Not that it will help.
So now that we have 3 for the rest of the party and 1 on Clyve. I think it's always good to keep 1 on the tank.
Yes. Sure. Sounds good. But yeah, apart from that, unless there's anything else, you guys fly out on your new Tressym mounts. It is I think I keep forgetting which season everything is in, but I think it's like summer. So it is blue sky, the wind is crisp and clear, and you guys fly your new Tressym mounts, all of them in their wonderful arrays, in colors. You follow the Starfall River to the north, and then using Dusk's map, it isn't long. It's maybe a couple of hours up in the air in flight time before you are making your way back down to the edges of a series of cliffs that follow the river to the north. And you can see in the distance the tall mountains that surround the northern kind of borders of Cormyr, and you make your way down, and you can begin to see. What you see first is a series of tents. You can see a series of tents have been pitched. Some very rudimentary camping has been set up outside of what to you guys would just look like a natural cave formation. But as you get closer, you can see that sort of wooden scaffolding has been hastily erected and built. And yeah, a rough camp has been arrayed. However, you don't find any people. You don't find any living individuals at this camp as you come down and land on the Tressym. It looks like there's approximately 3 tents, 2 men, 3 men each. There's the remains of a campfire with a sort of iron roasting spit over the top of it. There is a sort of work table with some rough tools, just all scattered about. But it looks not abandoned, but just like it's been left here. Like the camp, it's not been attacked. You don't see any signs of battle. And then you see this cave entrance leading in.
Oh.
Clyve, do you want to lead the way? This is the mine, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So are we? So we flew in our Tressym, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you've seen like the camp from the air. You've landed on the ground, dismounted from the Tressym, and you are now basically in this camp. That's outside a cave, is what you can see so far. But you would certainly assume that this cave looks like there's no one here. There are sleeping bags, there are rations, water skins, but no people.
Can I investigate? Like, how long has the fire been out? Like,
sure, yeah. Make an investigation check.
Okay.
Anybody searching around can do the same if you guys are interested. If anybody's
14.
Poking through anything. 14. I mean, the campfire is definitely is cold. Like this hasn't been lit in at least a day.
Okay.
Looking around, you find some rations they've spoiled. So we're talking at least 2-3 days old. You do find what appears to be in one of the tents. You find a sort of little small writing desk with an open logbook. That seems to be there, and you find various sort of pencils and writing tools, muddy boots, that sort of thing. But yeah, no other real sign of life.
Can I read through the logbook?
Yeah, reading through the logbook, it looks like this is just it's part journal, and if you flick too far back, it starts talking about just things in town and general business at the quarry. As you get to the sort of later chapters, it becomes very much about the mine. And you don't know whose it is. There's no name attached to it, but the person writing it seems to be one of these surveyors. And they talk about how whilst they were investigating the surrounding hills and mountains for resources, they came across what they thought was a cave system. They broke down a wall that looked like it might contain ore. It collapsed, and it actually revealed a much, much older pre-built mine. The mine appeared to be dwarven in make, very old, likely sort of disturbed by the various cataclysms that Faerun has undergone, shifted a lot of the underground and sort of subterranean world around. But yeah, the mine looked to be exceptionally well kept, if empty. Plenty of ore. In fact, there is a specific section which I will read out. Most tunnels have been collapsed or seem empty of anything of note. Plenty of ore, but seems that whatever happened here, nobody stuck around to keep mining it. We've only got the lowest levels left to check, but we expect to find some sort of dwarven foundry or fortification based on a few runic markings and notes left by the original builders. Citadel Galdrun.
So that's implying some shit went down.
Certainly does seem so. I mean, it seems that whoever, these surveyors have found this mine, they've checked it out, found most of the passageways sort of collapsed or empty. Lots of ore still left, so still very valuable for Eveningstar. But yeah, then it sounds like they were expecting to find some sort of dwarven building or fortification at the very lowest level. The bottom level is the only place they hadn't explored.
There don't happen to be any dwarven runes that they wrote down in the journal. Like if
that Citadel Galdron is written in Dwarvish, and then it's translated in Common underneath.
Okay.
And it's written in Dwarvish, and Galdron sounds like a place name. It sounds like a dwarven sort of castle or keep or foundry or something like that.
Well, Azara can read Dwarvish, which is why I asked.
Okay, yeah. So it's there are like notes, but it's any other sort of dwarven notes within this logbook are things like quantity of ore, quality of ore. Like they're kind of like little scribblings of like, volumes, or like, talking about like shaft X3 seems to be good, yada yada yada. Kind of like much more minory, minor stuff.
Gotcha.
Not as much interest to Azara. Oh, the only other thing in the logbook is there is what appears to be a sketch of some sort of lift device, like a clockwork elevator. And it just says like, no idea how they built this, looks useful. Entry to lowest levels. And it's just the little comment next to this sketch.
Gotcha. I think I'm gonna cast a quick detect magic just to see if anything feels disturbed around
in the
here.
camp. No?
Yeah.
No,
Nothing?
Yeah, you have a look around. Only your own magic items really seem to register.
All right, well,
While Azara's doing that,
yeah.
what's everyone else doing? If anything, you don't have to be doing anything. I'm just
waiting to go on in.
Yeah, I'm just peering.
All right, off we go then. I'll start walking in.
Okay, so as soon as Azara comes back out while Azara's reading. So yeah, for Clyve and Tarkhal, who are kind of like more peering in, it is what sort of as Azara's reading the book, you guys can see. It looks like this is like a natural like cliff cave. But then it looks like where it's been excavated and like whoever these surveyors were like sort of testing things, they broke through a section, revealed like perfectly cut stone, like almost completely flat geometric kind of like angles. It looks incredibly well carved, and it looks like they broke into something much, much older and much more well built. And then a very hasty wooden scaffolding and sort of excavation has taken place to open that up and actually create like an entryway. It's tight. It's narrow, like for Clyve, you're kind of definitely having to like duck your head. It looks like it was built for dwarves, so it's certainly not taller than sort of like 5.5 feet. So anybody taller than sort of like 5'6" is like really having to sort of like crane their neck a little bit. It is pitch black. There are no light sources in here whatsoever, but it is perfectly cut, beautifully carved stone sort of like shafts, and then you can begin to see just the occasional sparkle of silver ore in the actual rock elements itself.
Oh,
nice.
So when Azara rejoins you guys want to press on? How are you going forward? And who doesn't have dark vision is another big question. I'm pretty sure all the elves do.
We all do. Yeah.
You all do, yeah.
Does Clyve have it? Yeah. So you guys are just going to go in with the dark vision. Okay. So your vision kind of shifts to that black and white, sort of as you get deeper and as the light from the cave begins to fall behind you, your vision slowly adjusts and slowly switches over to this monochrome, everything in shades of gray, which you realize is you guys can see, but it is still quite difficult because now all of this like rock all just looks like one shade. Where it's been perfectly cut, it's actually quite hard to distinguish. You can see the occasional outcropping and things like that, but all of the detail that like color would normally provide you is washed away.
Agnes rummages around in her bag. She's like, oh yeah. Okay. Pulls out a drift globe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can use that if you'd like to.
Yeah, has that float in front of us.
Okay, yeah, so you send that ahead of Clyve, kind of floating along. And that definitely now casts the corridor into this. You can see this like deep gray. You can see all these like small carvings. And it's very clearly signposted. So every few feet, wherever a corridor splits off, there will be a sort of, and Azara can read Dwarvish, so she's sort of translating. There are clear directions, and it always points back to, you just see, it would just probably read something like lift platform, and it points in a direction, and then it will say like shaft dwarven number, shaft 7 this way, shaft 8 this way, unstable. Like a couple of the tunnels are marked as unstable, and like you can see that like wooden struts have been put. Sorry, not wooden struts. Like stone has been sort of almost like stone columns have been placed to like keep it supported, and like symbols for danger and things like that have been marked away. But this top level seems quite expansive. Like you can see it kind of goes off in all these different directions. And depending on how much you guys want to explore here, you can kind of go through these different sort of like areas, or there is very much clearly a kind of like this way to lift platform direction.
I think Azara would have, told them that everything she read in the book. So about the lift platform and everything like that. And also like clearly these people are missing, but won't say no to some exploring as well.
So we need to be on our guard, is what you're saying.
It seems that something has happened here. Probably nothing we can't handle. I'm not saying it's a rush to get to the bottom floor, but we should
any
take a
sort
look
of
around.
Conversation when you guys speak really echoes in this place. Like even like very like even trying to whisper, like it sounds so much louder as like these perfectly shaped corridors and like mine shafts are like just the sound bounces through them. And as a point, the Tressym definitely cannot fit in here and would not want to come in here if they wanted to.
Oh, I thought they already went hunting.
Dark. Yeah, this is going to be way too short and narrow for them to fit in and move up to be around it. So, yeah. What do you guys want to do?
I think if there's any of like the hallways or divots that aren't marked unsafe, I'd want to at least like walk down them, because we're trying to claim this as for Eveningstar, obviously the silver mine. So I want to
clear it out, right?
Yeah, I want to see what resources are available when we do claim it.
And also if there's any lurking bandits or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys can spend like on this top level, you guys spend sort of maybe an hour checking all these like side passages. And there's a couple of things. Can I think like with this, Azara and Tarkhal, can you both make intelligence checks for me?
Can do.
I don't think this is something Clyve would really pick up on, and I don't think it's anything Agnis would know from her background either.
I rolled a 1.
I rolled an 18.
Okay. So Azara, I think you're the only one who really picks up on this. And maybe it's because like maybe you had like a dwarven professor who taught you like dwarvish, or like this is something that you just studied. You very quickly come that this is probably the last tunnel that was dug. Like this is probably, rather than like where humans would build a mine and then go down, dwarves tend to build low and then they go up, especially if they're like mountain dwarves who live in the heart of like a subterranean element, right? This is probably the last shaft they dug. And so actually all of the sort of like less dug resources are up here at the top. So going through these like passageways, there is still a fair good amount of silver ore in this top level. And you imagine that the sort of like next few levels below you are probably going to be the same thing. Most of the tunnels here are unfinished as well. Like they're very short. They're not particularly long or detailed, but there is a lot of them. This was probably a very, very big mining operation when it was being used. But this place is ancient. We are talking hundreds, maybe even more, like maybe more like 5 to 1,000 years old. Like this place is old.
Azara would definitely convey that, also with the added and because this is such an old system, if it was already dangerous and unstable before, let's just not press our luck. And we'll just keep exploring.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it takes about an hour. You map out this top level because it's all like spidering little sort of like little tiny shafts where it looks like miners came and sort of were working their way down. Occasionally you get to an end, which is like a natural rock face where it looks like they just stopped like trying to expand the mine. Very, very much there is still plenty of ore here, but just, you need a team to come in and do it. But this is just the absolute topmost level. You don't actually find any sort of stairwell down. This top level seems to just be these sort of these branching paths, and then you just keep seeing this lift platform recommended, but there's no actual stairs going down. Not in any of the safe passageways that you check.
Maybe the lift is their way of getting around.
It's worth a shot. You said that they didn't explore the bottom, according to the journal, right?
They said they hadn't yet, but they assume that's where the dwarves have their settlement, I guess. I don't know if they've been taken or but nobody could still be living down there. But there could be something living down there.
As a note, none of you have seen any evidence of the Eveningstar surveyors. You've not found
Yikes!
tools. You've not found footprints. You've not found anything. Like, you've not even seen bloodstains. You've not seen any sign of whoever these surveyors that were in the camp. They're not in this top level, and you've seen no sign of any sort of disturbance. Like, this place looks like it's been untouched. Like, you guys are the first ones to explore it in hundreds of years.
Do you suppose that something outside the mine prevented the surveyors from entering?
We would have seen signs of a struggle. I'm concerned that the surveyors went to the bottom floor first and were met with their doom immediately.
We should definitely proceed then. Seems like the lift is the only way down.
I guess we just have to be on our guard that something could be down there waiting for us.
Yeah, there could be stairs, but they'd likely be in one of these unstable passageways if there were any, because you guys didn't go down those. So
Azara just kind of looks at Clyve like, after you, sir.
Yeah.
Off we go then.
Yeah, cool. Well, I mean, Clyve sort of being directed by Azara translating some of these signposts, you guys make your way back and you find like a much larger central passageway, which leads to the entrance that you came from. And following that, you do actually begin to see, it looks like the dwarves never finished building what looked to be like metal tracks into the floor of the cavern. So there is actually, you don't see any carts, but there are, basically mine tracks leading to what you discover to be a 15-foot by 15-foot square shaft that just goes straight down. You can see that embedded into the ceiling above you and kind of descending down the shaft are 4 huge chains, each one in each corner, that descend down into the shaft, and set into the wall is an ancient looking metal mechanism, and you can see cogs and gears sort of built into the side of it with a giant stone lever, which has been beautifully engraved and carved with dwarven runes that translate to wealth, prosperity, fortune, all engraved into the shaft of the lever.
Cool.
The lever seems to be in a down position, and you don't see a lift platform. It is just like chains going down and just a hole.
So whoever took the lift last didn't come back up.
Oof. How heavy does that lever look?
I mean, somebody who is at least somewhat physical would probably be able to move it no problem. Like somebody who is, doesn't do a lot of heavy lifting might struggle, but could probably still do
what
it.
About a mage hand? Could a mage hand do it?
You could try.
Azara's going to try. Standing far back is going to try and send her claw to bring back the lift.
Yeah, you send the claw, and it kind of the draconic grip wraps around the stone lever, and it does start pulling up. I don't think that the mage hand is making progress, but it looks like time has like rusted part of it, and you can see that like it's got like scrapes on the insides where whoever used it last really had to force it down. The mage hand is just tugging and tugging, and it's making effort, but it's just not quite strong enough to pull this thing up.
Azara looks at Clyve.
Do we?
After you, sir.
Can we see how far down this goes?
Does Clyve go over and sort of like peer down?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get down, you look, and with your dark vision going 60 feet, it's still just black emptiness. You can see what appear to be other sort of tunnels, but all of them are blocked. Like when you look down, you can just about see about 50 feet down is what appears to be like another floor of this mine, right? But the entranceway that connects to the lift shaft has been purposely collapsed. Like it's been like the entryway has been broken. But yeah, you look down, can't see anything, just chains. 4 chains in each corner going all the way down.
Can I drop something in there?
I stop him. I'm like, wait, and can I control a drift globe that far?
Find out. Let's find out.
Let me look.
Drift globe.
You're within 60 feet of it. Float no more than 5 feet up the
Light,
ground.
daylight.
Yeah, it can go 60 feet from me.
Okay. If you move more than 60 feet from a hovering, it follows you until it is within 60 feet of you. Yep.
So
the globe sinks gently to the ground and becomes inactive, and its light winks out if it was prevented from moving.
So it should be. This isn't addressing having it move in vertical.
So you
space.
can't telepathically like move it around. You could basically, it will hover in front of you. You could basically go step out, like have it go into the shaft, and then it would just descend. It would try and get back to you, but then it would just kind of get stuck against the wall and then slowly drift down.
It wouldn't come back up?
Don't think so, no. Because you're not telepathically controlling it. It would try and follow you, but it wouldn't be able to get back to you.
Okay.
So think of it like almost like a slow moving flare, like it would slowly go down.
Never mind then. As you work.
Okay.
Clyve, anything you want to throw down there?
I'm assuming there's like a little, I can find a pebble or a rock or something.
You can, but not immediately. Like these walls and the floor here are like immaculately kept. Like it is like smooth floor, smooth walls until there comes to a section where they've obviously been digging and mining. So you kind of have to like trek a little bit back, and then you can find like a rock to bring back with you.
Cool. I will do
Yeah.
that. And
You just drop it,
mm-hmm.
and you hear that very faint like as something's falling through the air. That very quickly goes out of earshot. You wait.
nothing.
Question.
I think something caught the
Flame blade. Green flame blade.
Yes.
It does not say
Okay.
if you drop the blade, it disappears.
It's because I believe the idea is that like you like your weapon is like coated with flame for an attack, and then it leaps from that to another thing.
It just says you brandish the weapon used in the spell's casting. So it's
It's an
evocation.
action though for the casting time.
I pull
So
the
it's
lever.
literally like it's one attack.
All right, he pulls the lever.
So while Azara's doing that, the light spell Azara would do what you're thinking, where you would cast it on and then it stays on it for a period of time. But Green Flame Blade is literally like it only has the flame for while you attack, and then it leaps and then it diminishes.
Got it.
Whilst you're thinking of that though, Clyve pulls the lever into the opposition. And with your strength, Clyve, it's no problem. There's definitely resistance there, like this is an old thing, but you pull it up and you all begin to see the chains kind of like ka-dunk, as the chains begin receding somewhere into the ceiling of this shaft. And you begin to hear, well, no, for a while you don't hear anything except these chains. And then maybe sort of like a minute and a half, 2 minutes later, you begin to hear like a kind of grind, like you hear a very tremendous scraping noise, like stone on stone. About a minute later, a platform rises to the top and fits perfectly within the 15-foot by 15-foot space as a stone platform with a very a sort of like stone, not even like a wall, but like a little lip, like a little stone ledge, just to kind of prevent people from standing off the edge, slides into place. And you see for the first time something that is not just stone. You actually see that in the middle of the lift, you can see what appears to be skeletal remains and what appears to be the head of a pickaxe, like a metal pickaxe head, and a few scatterings of silver and copper coins.
So whoever went down never left the lift.
I mean, they're right there.
Well, it makes me think maybe can't there be gases and things that build up in mines? I'm familiar with gases.
I will say Agnis, Azara, and Tarkhal, as you look at these remains, and as Agnis is talking about this, you do think that there's something off about the lift. The remains and like the edges and the chains and things like that, it's almost like there's a film over your eyes when you look at it. Like it's ever so slightly blurry. Like there's some sort of something, like a force or a field, or like there is like some sort of like a like very faintly opaque substance.
Oh my god, it's a fucking
like,
gelatinous cube. Is it a fucking... Look at his face.
You can make a perception check.
I'm gonna do a perception check.
Sure.
Yeah, me too.
That's a 17.
Okay.
You said right now.
And then I'm gonna cast Detect Magic again.
I got 22 on my perception.
I got 25.
22?
25. Dang.
All three of you, I mean, you don't even need to cast Detect Magic, Azara, because you immediately, you look at the edges and you look up and you can see the outline of a 15-foot by 15-foot cube-like thing that then is going to start moving forward, and that's initiative for everybody.
I knew it!
That's a smart gelatinous cube. Just fit right in the rectangle.
He's just like, I'm gonna just scooch him right here.
Did it fit? Here's the thing, Anna. Did it fit there, or was it put there? Guys, I accidentally rolled your initiatives for you. I didn't mean to do that.
Don't do that because I actually rolled a nat 20 for once in my life.
Yes, that has come through. I think it's replaced my auto one.
Oh, yeah.
Right, what have we got for Azara?
23.
14.
14, 23 for Agnis. Tarkhal, what do we get?
22.
22, and then Clyve of the Wild Maiden.
18.
18. Well, excellent news. All of you are going before the slow-moving giant gelatinous cube, Agnis. Clyve, you've not seen any of this, by the way. It just looks like a lift. You just see your three friends go and like point at the lift, and then Agnis.
All right, down we go then.
Do I, as an adventurer, have any knowledge about gelatinous cubes, such as, do I know if fire damage is feasible for a gelatinous cube?
Stuff like that, it would be very specific knowledge. Like if you were like a ranger who had like favored enemy and stuff, that would kind of fall into that. You've heard all sorts of stories. You know enough about gelatinous cube to know what they are and that they eat people and they dissolve their bodies and stuff like that. I don't think like you could make a nature check, but it's really tough. Like we're gonna like to kind of get that level of knowledge about a monster is pretty hard. Because there's normally like spells or class abilities that do that. So
I am waffling between getting some fire damage right off the bat or trying to entangle it. And I don't know if you can entangle a gelatinous cube or make difficult terrain for a gelatinous cube. Even though that'd probably be the smartest, the fire is cooler, so I'm gonna go with the fire.
There you go.
Go with that. Yeah, go with your gut.
I mean, my gut always says fire. So I'm going to cast heat metal on the pickaxe that you said was in there.
Oh,
interesting.
Very smart.
Thank you. And I'm going to cast it. I'm going to cast it right on up at the 4th level. We're going to do that.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
manufactured metal objects, such as a metal weapon or a suit of armor that you can see within range. Yeah, any creature in physical contact with the object. Yeah, it doesn't have to be, doesn't have to be held or anything like that. Yep, makes sense.
Good.
Okay, love it.
So we're going to heat metal. That's going to be 4d8 fire damage, I think.
It is. Yeah.
So that's going to be 1 plus 6, 7, 11, 16 fire damage.
16 points of fire damage. The air is filled with sort of acrid smell of burning goop as something begins to sizzle and bubble away on the inside of this thing. And then it just that continues to bubble away, I'm going to say, Agnis. I think that what I'm going to probably say is it can't get rid of that pickaxe in any way, but because of its cube-like nature, I don't think it would get disadvantage on any checks because it's inside its body, because it's like not affecting its like grip or anything like that. It's just going to kind of, bumble forward. But
the idea is that it's stuck, so it can't drop it.
That's exactly.
The beauty of this decision that Agnis finally made well.
Really
good.
We hope.
Very good move. Would you like to do anything else, Agnis?
No, I should have summoned Candor, but that's not a bonus action, so we'll wait for that.
You done?
Yeah.
All right, Tarkhal.
Oh, don't I? Sorry. No, never mind. Go ahead.
Okay.
Tarkhal or Clyve?
Tarkhal, then Clyve, then Azara.
Got you. Okay, I'm just going to immediately draw my Kiss of Silver and plunge it through this lad.
Okay.
And I have advantage because I'm going before this foolish cube.
You do?
That's a 19. So 27 to hit.
27 will hit. I will tell you now, this thing is not very hard to hit. It is a big sticky cube.
Excellent. Okay, so 1d4. Okay, that's 8 on the non-sneak attack damage. And then if I go to my features and traits, there's usually a button for me on dndbeyond.com. It's never been easier. Kidding, it's not
never
there.
been easier.
Just kidding, it could be easier.
Oh, it could be easier. It's fine. 3, 5, 7, 10, 16. That's 5d6, and I think that's what it is. So 16.
More points of damage. So Kiss of Silver like plunges in. As the blade does sort of impact against the creature's flesh, it does sort of bubble and sizzle, and some of it splatters onto your hand, and it burns like acid, sort of just enough to make you kind of like as you pull back. All right.
And then I will use a bonus action to disengage, so I can back away and just move as far away as possible from this cube.
Yeah, I mean, you can get about 30 feet. There's a big wide passageway, kind of like 15-foot wide, 15-foot tall passageway that goes all the way back. And yeah, you can just move 30 feet backwards if you like.
Sweet.
All right. In that case, we have go Clyve, then Azara.
Okay. Do you think Clyve would have had any experience with a thing such as this?
No.
Okay.
Very much not really common in the Feywild, a big gelatinous cube.
We only got those here in the not Feywild.
Yeah, and also it's the kind of thing you would find like in a wizard's lab, not like in a battlefield or like on a hunt or anything like that. So I don't think Clyve would have encountered something like this before.
Okay.
It does look like to Clyve that your friends, you saw the pickaxe start glowing hot and it looked like the air was bubbling or something. Tarkhal's just stabbed nothing.
Oops. We didn't communicate. I feel like someone yelled gelatinous cube at some point. And if not, Agnis will now yell gelatinous cube.
Yeah, Clyve doesn't know what that is, but yeah, they're clearly attacking something invisible that is in there.
Okay, I'm going to swing.
Yep, sure. You just run up, whoosh, big swing. Go for it.
Oh, and I would like to rage. So to hit, it's a dirty 20, but let me do the rage really quick. But
reckless attack. Rage doesn't give you advantage, but reckless attacks would.
Yeah, I'm not attacking recklessly right now. I didn't roll the wild magic.
Yes. Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm. So that is a 6. I am surrounded by multicolored protective lights. I gain +1 bonus to AC.
Okay.
And any ally within 10 feet. Cool.
Which is currently Azara and Agnis, who are both stood next to you.
Yay!
Sweet. All right, so that's a hit. So I'm going to roll damage.
Roll some damage.
That is 1d8 +5, so 8 total.
Okay, 8 total.
And I'm going to attack again with literally no wreck.
Yeah, so as the blade, you feel the blade connect with something, Clyve, and sort of drag through the air, and you can see now this kind of rippling jelly-like substance that was previously the air, and it just kind of like splits it apart, and some of it falls on the floor, and you can hear a sort of sizzling sound as it does so.
Huh. It's kind of like, I saw it then. I'll swing again.
Okay.
Roll. That is 27 to hit.
That will hit, yes. I will tell you now, this thing has an AC of 6. So
okay. Good. So then it's my damage plus the D3. Or sorry, no, just +3.
+3, yeah. So 13 plus 3, 16. 16 points of damage. You, again, slice into this thing. And this thing is like 15 foot by 15 foot. It's massive, this cube. And you slice into it, like ripping parts of it, and it's just falling apart. You have no idea if this thing is injured. You don't know if you're having any effect against this thing, but you're definitely cutting into something.
Are we attacking the thick air?
Yes.
All right.
All right, Clyve done.
Simplest answer, always the best.
So true.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
All right, Azara.
I think as a free action, Azara's gonna grumble about fucking gelatinous cubes ruining all of her outfits, all of these like horrible flashbacks she's getting about battling gelatinous cubes before. And where am I in the order? Just so I know.
You are at the bottom of the initiative. In terms of the space, imagine you are currently stood in front of this like lift room, which is 15 foot by 15 foot. And then you sort of have like about a 10 foot, wide corridor going behind you.
Right.
You, Clyve, and Agnis are all right in front of the lift. You're basically next to the cube.
Okay.
And then Tarkhal fucked off 30 feet down the corridor behind you.
Gotcha. I then, if I'm right in front of it and there's no chance of me hurting anybody else, I'm going to cast Dragon's Breath on myself at the 3rd level.
Okay.
And then as a bonus action, I'm going to blow ice damage on it, hoping to freeze the gelatinous cube.
Okay, go for it.
it
That's a 30-foot cone?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, I take it back because there are chains on the platform.
Oh, you caught it before I could do anything.
I take all of that back. Oh, you asked about the cone, and then I realized that was a bad idea.
I was just checking. I was like, well,
you were just checking.
Is it going to hit all of them? Is it going to hit a couple of them? Like, I don't know.
You were certainly just checking, which means, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cast Spiritual Weapon at the 1st level.
Okay.
Or 2nd level, because that's where I can cast it. And then as a bonus action, I'm going to move my spiritual weapon over to the gelatinous cube and have it hit it.
Okay.
Okay, well, 19 plus 6, that hits. Why am I wasting these good rolls on a cube?
Great question.
7 points of force damage.
Force damage, very important to know. Great. Yeah, the spiritual weapon seems to like cut in, and you do watch like huge chunks of this thing have now been like cut free, like pieces of like a jello mold have like just come loose and just begin to melt and disappear into the stone. Anything else, Azara? Are you done?
That's it.
All right.
Actually, I'm gonna back up a little bit, close enough to Clyve to still get that AC buff. But
well, if you back away, it's going to get an opportunity attack against you because you're next to it.
Shit. You're right.
I thought you just sent the weapon over. You're in melee with it?
Well, if we're all...
Because you were all stood by the lift when it came
Oh.
up, and it was like right there, basically.
Yeah. I'll stay here.
So because you're next to it as well, Agnis. All 3 of you. It's only
that's
Tarkhal
right.
who stepped away from it.
Yeah, I'll stay here.
Okay. Right. Well, on the cube's turn, it's going to do 2 things. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to slide 15 feet from the lift, pushing itself down the corridor and engulf Clyve, Azara, and Agnis. I need you all 3 to make dexterity saving throws.
Oh, crap. We didn't move.
It just down the corridor. But dex saving throws, you might be able to like sort of Indiana Jones away.
Who rolled a natural 1?
So you and Clyve are both in the same boat.
I got a 17.
17's enough.
Yes.
9.
And then Clyve, did you roll danger sense though, Clyve? Because you
Oh yeah.
dex saving throws.
Oh no.
So Azara, like you see this thing coming, you turn and you manage to like sprint. You're sort of like managing to dart away. Agnis and Clyve don't react as quickly, and they are basically engulfed by this thing as it just. You're still next to it, Azara, but you've basically moved 15 feet with it.
Okay.
After it engulfs the other 2, it's going to use a pseudopod against you, Azara, because you are now outside its range. So a piece of it kind of flops out and smacks you in the face.
Oh, gross.
For a 19 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
That's going to be 10 acid damage to you, Azara.
Damn.
And then that's 10 acid damage to Clyve and Agnis, and you are both engulfed, which means that you are, I believe, restrained. You are restrained, which means your speed becomes 0. Attack rolls against you have advantage, and your attacks have disadvantage, and you have disadvantage on dexterity saving throws.
But it doesn't stop my unstable backlash.
It does not, no.
It does not.
And as a point, you can use your action to try and escape with a strength check. So you can try and like kind of pull yourself through the cube.
Each creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you must succeed a Constitution saving throw.
Okay, well, the cube is the only one, so we going cube.
We're going cube.
All right, so 9. 4 plus 5.
I believe that's a fail.
Yep.
So that's going to be, let me roll this really quick. This
is the necrotic damage one, I think, isn't it?
Yep. That is 7 necrotic.
7 necrotic. Done. Donezo. So, like, as Clyve gets engulfed, the multicolored pattern sort of changes, becomes like a black flame that sort of bursts out from him, and the cube just sort of wobbles and juddles.
I also get temporary hit points.
Oh,
nice. Even better. You're going to need those. Agnis, it's your turn, and I've got some bad news, because at the start of your turn, you take 26 acid damage.
That's
as you are being digested by the cube.
Don't I have some sort of like absorb elements thing? No, that's a spell. I thought it was a native thing. Never mind.
You can cast it as a reaction, absorb elements.
Did you say acid or poison?
It's acid damage.
Great. That's great for me.
Is that a sarcastic? That's great for me, or is that an actual?
It's an act. I love that for me for real.
Okay.
Let's see. So absorb elements I've never used before. The spell captures some of the incoming energy, lessening its effect on you and storing it for your next melee attack. You have resistance to the triggering damage type until the start of your next turn. Also, the first time you hit with a melee attack on your next turn, the target takes an extra 1d6 damage of the triggering type, and the spell ends.
It does. So if you use your reaction now, you'll get resistance, which means the damage would become 13. And then obviously then you would get the extra d6 on melee attacks. Not that Agnes tends to make a ton of melee attacks, but you might do. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll activate absorb elements.
All right.
Cool.
So you only take 13 acid damage then instead.
Great.
And that's at the start of your turn.
Oh, so it is my turn now?
It is your turn now. Yeah. You are restrained, so you've got 0 speed. You have a disadvantage on all your attacks. Attacks against you have advantage. And you can use an action to try and escape the cube.
I suppose I should do that instead of the cool thing I wanted to do, which is make fire while I'm inside the cube.
No, I'm a huge fan of doing the cool thing. Don't worry about the optimal thing. Do the cool thing. If that's
but I can't do as many cool things if I'm dead.
That's
true.
Also fair.
That's very
so fair. I also have already created a bonus action fire situation with the heat metal. So I will use my action to try to escape the cube. Is it Dex again?
Okay. It's a strength check this time. So it's just a straight strength check. Yep. So just plus your strength modifier.
I don't have much confidence in my strength. So instead, I'm going to use my action to summon Candor.
Okay.
And Candor is going to summon right next to me. And then Candor can take their turn right after I summon them, right? I think we discussed this before.
I believe so. Yeah.
So Candor is going to transport me outside the cube and also damage the sphere with fire while I'm being transported.
So you summon here's the problem, right? And I'm going to break this down. You would summon Candor inside the cube.
Well,
yes?
No, not necessarily. Because, let's see.
Okay.
How far inside the cube?
That's the important question.
How far inside the cube am I?
The cube is 15 foot by 15 foot. So you are in the middle. So you are 10 feet from the edges.
It already digested me to the middle?
Well, it sucked you in as it moved, and then it's kept you in the middle.
And it's 15 by 15?
It's 15 by 15, yeah.
Let me pull up. I can't.
What's that? 10 feet to the edge, I guess?
If it's 15 feet by 15 feet, wouldn't it be 7.5 feet to the edge?
Sure. Let's say that. We'll say you're within 5 feet of the edge, because that also, like, other creatures outside the cube can use an action to like pull somebody out as well. I was going to say this on Tarkhal's turn, but a creature outside the cube can take damage in order to give somebody a chance to pull themselves free.
All right. Let's see. Fire teleportation. Creature of your choice, 5 feet.
Yep. So you can count.
Oh, so it can come outside the.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. Great.
Because the thing is if you summon Kanda inside the cube at the start of Kanda's turn, Kanda would take 26 acid damage and probably die.
Yeah,
I don't know. Actually, you might have more hit points.
That would not be good. So thank you. Great. Okay, so I also have that improved bond thing. Sorry, I sometimes have trouble reading this.
So the plan is to use fiery teleportation, right? So you want to use Kanda to fiery teleport yourself out.
1d6 plus 4 plus 1d8 is how much damage it'll do. If I'm reading this correctly. So 6 plus 2. So 8 fire damage.
I'm not even going to bother making the saving throw for the gelatinous cube because it's a dex saving throw and it's just going to fail.
Okay.
So 8 points of fire damage.
Yes.
And then you get to swat, and then you basically get teleported 15 feet away, right?
Yeah. And I'm just like,
dripping with goo, like in Ghostbusters 2.
Yes. And then I'm going to use my bonus action to inflict the heat metal damage again.
Okay, nice. Clyve, the acid gets hot. But no, it's not going to do any extra. It's just like you're burning, and then it's like steam is like, ah!
That's another 12 fire damage.
Another 12 points of fire damage. Nice. Okay, perfect. All right, and you're done, Agnis?
Mm-hmm. That was a full turn. Did you?
So you got teleported 15 feet away from the cube, and then you did the spells, and then you're done.
Yeah.
Tarkhal Crownsilver. Oh, go on.
Just I was really proud for the first time I used a reaction, an action, a bonus action, and a buff, and
Busy
my
turn.
flame spirit.
Yeah, amazing. Good turn.
Thanks.
Tarkhal.
Hey, so when I'm looking at this cube, my two friends inside, does the cube
One
or my
friend
friends...
inside. You've just seen your sister like blast herself out with fire.
Yeah.
She's now safe outside. But Clyve is still like inside, basically.
Okay. Wait, and Azara's not in it?
No, Azara managed to succeed the same
right.
So she's like, she ran like behind it. It's right behind
up
her.
against
And
the wall.
it like smacked her with a piece of itself.
Okay, and
but
Clyve doesn't look bloodied. He's kind of just floating, right? He's
Clyve's fine.
Okay, I'm just gonna once again, since I have a friend within 5 feet, I'm just gonna kiss a silver this boy. But I'm gonna move up 10 feet, some within 20, and then I can just have advantage.
And then throw. Yep, makes sense.
Keep my distance. That's a 17 to hit, and that's a crit.
You don't get advantage because you have a friend within 5 feet. You just get to do the sneak attack damage.
Oh, I'm so sad in every way.
I'm so sorry to
form.
bum you. I'm so sorry. I have to be the rules man.
Does 17 hit though?
17 still hits.
Okay.
You're still going to do damage, but it's not a crit.
No, that's fine.
Still just floating.
No, that's fine.
Fine. 5 on the D4, and I found the button on D&D Beyond. 17 for sneak attack, so 22 total of Kiss of Silver damage.
22 total. Yeah, like that throw from Kiss of Silver, the force of the sneak attack, and also the magic of the dagger itself. Huge chunk of the cube comes loose, and now it's really diminished inside, and it's moving slowly. You can see it rippling. This thing doesn't. It's hard to tell how injured it is, but it's certainly not happy that you've done that.
The mood of the gelatinous cube is visibly dampened.
It is sad. Yeah.
It would fail a vibe check. I understand. I would
wobbles angrily.
Yes, basically. Clyve.
What?
It's your turn.
So
you can still attack. You can
Huh?
still attack inside this thing. You just have disadvantage on your attack rolls. Your speed is 0, or you can use an action to try and get out. But you do take 26 points of acid damage at the start of your turn.
Fun.
Fun.
For a few seconds,
D&D is
Clyve is
fun.
actually like sensory deprivation tank. He's just kind of like floating like,
What is this? Who am I? All the sound is muffled and you're just sort of free floating.
do I like this?
Oh no.
You just
So
get to see the
can I-
burning sensation on your skin, like ow, ow.
Ow, ow. Can I attack recklessly and make it just right?
Just a
Okay,
normal
cool.
roll.
Let's
Yeah,
do,
you
let's
can.
do that.
You're basically inside this thing and you're just like shaking yourself violently to attack it.
Just moving your sword around.
Yeah,
That's a 26 to hit.
that hits.
All right. So that is 9 plus 3, 12.
12 points of damage. It's not destroyed, but yeah, like you've carved a huge swathe of this thing free. Still not quite free yet, though.
I'll do it again.
Okay.
Disadvantage.
Well, it would just be a normal roll because you still have advantage from the reckless. So.
Oh, reckless is for both attacks.
Every attack you make that turn. Yep.
Cool.
It's very good.
Neat. That is 19.
That's gonna be a hit.
All right. That would be 15 damage.
15 points of damage. So you watch as from inside this thing, Clyve just starts like at first very slowly, like trying to spin his body, but then it gets faster and he just becomes like a blender in the middle of this thing, and just chunks of this thing fly out. They coat the walls until Clyve is just stood there covered in goo, the cube completely eviscerated around him.
Awesome.
His fur still sizzling, like, the clothing still like little holes and pitted marks all over it, but he's just kind of stood there. And the cube
I've achieved tranquility.
Nice. Perfect. But yeah,
for some flavor text, Azara uses her spiritual weapon fan to kind of like cool off Clyve because he's still sizzling from the acid.
Yeah, it's very soothing, very cooling. Yeah. It's like a skin peel, right? Though, but Clyve's skin is looking really fresh now. Like it's looking, looking good.
But he's great for summer.
Does he look like one of those naked cats now? Like, did all his hair burn off?
I think that there's patches of it that have like definitely like burnt away, but not all of the whole thing. He's not like completely naked.
He looks like skin sizzling. He's just like, pain is just an illusion created by the mind.
Wow.
Whoa.
Something happened to him in there.
Oh my God, Clyve.
I think I might struggle to cope with sensory overload.
Clyve, do you need to talk?
I think everyone needs to talk at some point. But for now, we have a job to do.
Right. I hate to say this, but Clyve is correct.
Wow. So I guess maybe we should clean ourselves up a little bit and see where the lift takes us.
Yeah. Who's hurting the worst right now?
I'm okay. I took a little damage, but not much.
Once again, Shady's just like, no damage here.
I'm fine.
Clyve's probably hurting the worst right now.
I would think so.
I'm just gonna pass Clyve one of the healing potions.
Sure.
Give you one of those.
Glug.
Yeah, how much is it?
2d4 plus 2.
We could also just take a short rest. I mean, not like we're in a hurry.
That's true. I'm down for that.
I've already drunk the potion. So I'm like,
Put it back in the bottle. Spit it back in the bottle.
Spit it back in the bottle right now.
Now that one's yours.
I'll hand it back to Azara.
Azara's like,
that was said like such a dad. That one's yours.
That one's yours. Azara will like take it, but then take the intact one that Clyve has on his hip, and then put the spit one back on Clive's hip, and put the intact one back in her pouch.
Oh
be like,
my gosh.
That one's yours now.
Nice.
All right, let's short rest it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys are you gonna rest just like by this lift shaft in the dark chasm?
I'll probably go back out to the campfire.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good idea. Now that the cube is dead.
Yeah, you guys make your way back outside into the delightful sunlight. You kind of have to blink a little bit, even just the hour that you spent in the absolute pit. Oh no, you had the drift globe actually. So, you guys can take a short rest. You take a short rest. Do as you wish in your short rest. Any kind of pieces of the gelatinous cube that were still remaining very quickly dissolve away in the hour. They just basically dissolve into like a nothing, just leaving behind this very slight acidic odor that you can still detect. But yeah. And then when you're done, what would you like to do?
I think we just hit 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. We start at 1:30. My brain got confused.
I was like, I don't think there is anything else to do.
I was like, we got 20 minutes. What are we talking about?
No, it was a perfect wrap up.
It was a perfect wrap
up.
Yeah.
No, you're 100% right. That was my brain failing there. Perfect wrap up point. Short rest. Next week, we'll pick back up. I'm assuming with you guys going back in and heading down in this mine this week.
There it is.
Timing.
Yeah.
Cube.
Perfect timing. Cool.
I can't
who
believe you
doesn't love
gelatinous cubed us, Mark. I cannot
so
believe.
Fun.
Come on. Who
That
doesn't
was
love a good
great.
cube? Right?
True.
You know? I did make it a bigger cube. It was a bigger cube with more hit points, but
You did.
yeah, it's basically a cube.
Nice.
That was, having
Um,
it fit
cool.
exactly in the lift shaft. That was genius.
That is
Very
genius.
cool.
I'm so glad that we were intelligent enough to have seen a film, because all of us
I
would have been
checked-
like, time to go.
Well, I checked
Right
your
into
passive
it.
perceptions. Your passive perceptions were high enough to give you like a clue that something was up. And then obviously your player intuition were like, cube. And you rolled high enough to go, that is indeed a cube. If
Thank
you had all
goodness for
flubbed that
Agnes's-
perception roll, I would have just been like, I don't know, it could be like a spell, it could be like a magic field. You don't know what it is.
You know what
So-
it is?
And then Clyve probably would have just walked into it, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Oh
He
yeah,
would have just
100%.
But yeah, amazing. Let's do some shout outs quick and then we'll wrap up this episode. Let's take it away, Shady.
Hi guys, I'm Shady. You can find me at ShadyPenguinn on Twitter, YouTube, and at ShadyPenguinn.com, where I upload a lot of cool video game based content you can check out. It's fun over there.
What is happening?
I'm gonna tag the mad pointer Nate.
That's me. The
The
mad
mad
pointer.
pointer.
JoJo pose.
Oh my God.
I can't remember anything I'm doing. I tag Mica.
I can't talk about anything I'm doing, so I'm going to take this brief time to tell the story of the first campaign that I ran with Nate. We fought a gelatinous cube for 2 hours. It took us
Yep.
at level 3 to beat, and we all almost TPK'd. I
Yep.
tag Anna.
Great. Hi, I'm Anna. This is Nizki. This is Nizki's foot. It's ridiculous and
I miss his
important,
foot.
just in case anyone needed to know.
Absurd.
You can find me at annaprosser.com. Also, I'm going to be at PAX East. I'm very
Ooh.
excited about it. You may have seen me previously in Acquisitions Incorporated playing my character Evelyn, so keep an eye out for that, as well as for other things that I will post about on social media at Anna Prosser. I tag Mark.
Thank you, Anna. You can follow me at Sherlock_Hulmes, most places on the internet. The other thing you can check out, which is what I do, is a D&D show called High Rollers D&D. That's my little baby. It's on High Rollers D&D, Twitch, YouTube, podcast, everywhere that you can possibly want it, Twitter, all of that kind of good stuff. Come and check that out. Otherwise, yeah, just follow me on Twitter. Keep up to date with what I'm doing. That's it. That's it from me. That's it from all of us here on Nights of Eveningstar. We will see you next week for the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody.